All right, let's get everybody in. There we go. All right. I still see your dad, James. But hopefully he's going to join us too. Tom Morris,
Yeah.
happy anniversary.
Hey, thanks, man. I appreciate it. I appreciate it. It has been 46 really good years. I'm just adjusting my window shades here, so I had to jump up for a second. Yeah, 46. Or as I told my wife this morning on her anniversary card, 46 years. Now the good part. You know, so.
Congratulations.
Yeah, thanks a lot. Thanks a lot, James. James, thank you so much. It's like life made you an author by giving you an amazing story to tell. You know,
Yeah.
what a great start you've had as a writer. You know, that's just such a blessing. And even though it's a tough story, I mean, this whole thing is so full of blows and blessings, right? I mean, it's a tough story, which now is a blessing to you, which now becomes a blessing to a lot of people as they're inspired and liberated. And just all the stuff. I'm a philosopher, so I love all the stuff like it's prison that freed your father from what was really prison. And just there's all these ironies and paradoxes that are just wonderful to think about. As hard as they were to live through, I'm sure.
Yeah, I mean, it is. There are so many paradoxes. It's ridiculous. But I think, you know, having done all these interviews, the main message. Well, firstly, you know, we're looking at documentaries and TV dramas and all the rest of it, and the producers are saying ultimately it's a story about a family and a father-son relationship and mother and son relationship, and that family bond. But also, it's about, you know, there is a redemption there, and the feeling that however bad it gets, you can always there's always a happy end. Well, it can improve and there can be a happy ending at the end. It was never guaranteed, but it just worked out that way. So I'm happy to share it. It's a positive story in the end.
You know, I like that it's a family story. I mean, you could position it so many different ways. This is a story about crime. This is a story about crystal meth. This is a story about personality change. This is and a lot of people would say, well, that's not me. I don't really relate, but it's a family story. And so rightly, everybody can relate to some version of this in their own lives, right? I mean, there's always something that is hidden. There's something that's dysfunctional. There's something that's surprising. There's something we need to be freed from. I mean, one of my favorite philosophers, Epictetus, who was a slave and was freed, he said, yeah, I was a slave. So's everybody else to something. I want to be your liberator, he would say. Now, I can see Joseph working hard on something over here.
I'm trying to get Richard on.
Oh, okay, good. Yeah, it's important to bring Richard on.
James, Jan here, Jan. How are you?
Hi.
So yeah, I can hear you. So Richard, click on that link like we did before to come onto the Zoom.
So IT support. So for those of you that weren't aware, it's a miracle that Dad got Dad on the main show.
The one on the screen, I think. The one on the screen, right, James?
Which is the one you should click on? Mobile. Well, he's on his mobile, I think.
Yes, the one on the mobile, Richard.
Yeah, so tap on the mobile. What's he trying to do?
Yes, that's the one.
Okay. I can't hear him at the moment. You can only hear him, I think, Joseph.
I can't see it. You know what, James? Well, you can mute us. Just go, give him a call and bring him on. We've got time for him. And then you'll meet Jan and everyone.
Yeah, definitely.
Okay. Well, hopefully he'll join, but I can try and call him on WhatsApp.
Yeah, I mean, we actually did it before, guys. It was quite successful. But we'll get it going as well.
Sure.
So Mr. Jan Zlotnick, well, we've got two Jans on this on our after show today. I see you've created an army of evangelists in the form of Leslie Laredo and Tom Morris to hawk your wares.
The army is quickly growing.
Well, this story that I don't know if James can hear me while he's working at the tech on the tech side.
I can hear you. Yeah.
Well, hold on. Here he is. Just wait 1 second, Jan, and
Yeah.
Okay.
we've got time. One thing I've learned, James, throughout this whole process is you have to learn how to forgive yourself and be forgiving
Here
on
comes your
yourself.
dad. I can see your dad's iPhone Richard on there.
Right. Can you hear us? You're on
He's
mute
on
at the
mute.
moment.
Not yet, and he's on mute.
Say something, Dad.
He's on mute.
Yeah, mute shows on my screen with his.
Oh, so Dad, if you tap on your phone and unmute
What
yourself.
you did before. I can ask him to start video. But
Yeah, and also start video as well so he can see you. You did it last time, so I believe you can do it again.
Unmute.
Ah,
Yay!
I can hear you now.
And
Okay.
now you have to click on the camera.
So it might say allow camera or
There you
James,
go. There he is. Hey, hey, Richard.
Share
James,
screen, stop video.
no, it's fine. We can see you.
You're good. You're good. You did it
Okay,
right.
I can't
James,
see me.
It's fine. We can see you.
It's okay.
Okay.
It's good enough for us to see you.
Okay.
I'm serious, James. If you're ever looking for like a side hustle or side project, you could help parents and grandparents in terms of figuring out Zoom.
He's very good. He's got amazing patience. I get the feeling he's about to go. You know, he's about to lose it, but he never does.
Really? So, Dad, you want to point the camera at you so we can see you. You've put the camera on the table, I think.
Yeah, we see the light in the ceiling. There you go. There you are.
We can see you.
Hey, there you are.
Yeah.
But surely I can do it on here.
No, don't worry about the laptop now. It's on your phone.
Oh, okay.
Okay, just carry on with the phone.
Okay.
Richard, one thing I've learned about technology is, there's an old saying, which is, quit when you're behind. But with technology, it's don't do anything when you're ahead.
Yes.
It's like when you feel like you're slightly ahead. People are like, oh, this is easy. I wonder what would happen if I add in a second camera. And that's when it all goes pear-shaped. Mr. Zlotnik, you were going to say something to James.
Oh, well, the show is stunning. I mean, this is a show, and James, I'd love to know about other interviews you've done and your experience with that. But this is a show that everyone should see. This should be promoted out the wazoo. This should be on CBS Sunday morning. This is about family, and this is about courage, and this is about now, not later, doing the things that with that courage and with your family, you can move your life, appreciate your life in a whole different way. And I'm just struck by your approach, your personality, your unconscious, your intuitive approach. Looking at your face, hearing your tone and your dad's face and his tone and approach is all the difference in the world between someone who's writing a book, telling a story, and someone who you are, you're like, we're already on your side. We want you to succeed. We want your dad to succeed. And so it's just mind-boggling to me that I didn't know about this, and I'm so glad I do now. I guess it's not mind-boggling, but now that I know, I can't wait to read the book. I can't wait to know more about you and your dad and your mom. And that's it. That's where I'm at on this. I'm just still stunned and need time.
Yeah. It's a great story, Richard, because the way James tells it, first you revealed to him that you were very different from what he thought, that you were gay. And a lot of people would think, oh, that's a bad thing. No, it was a very liberating thing in your relationship. And then his mom, and then the mom's illness, it's like throughout the story, readers are going to think, oh, this is bad. Oh, no, that was good. Oh, no, this is bad. It's like whiplash, like watching a tennis match. Is this going to be a good thing? Is this going to be a bad thing? And the way you, Richard, used prison to improve the lives of other people as well as your own, what a great example that is for all of us to use wherever we happen to be to do the very same thing. So thank you for that example.
A pleasure. Thank you for that. I appreciate it. It surprised me, I can assure you, far more than it could have surprised anyone else.
I bet.
I want to
go ahead.
Just hold on one second. My wife has actually joined us, so hopefully Richard and James. James, I don't think you've ever met her. And Richard, did you ever meet Terry?
I don't remember.
You went to the wedding, Dad, didn't you?
Yes, I must have done.
Well, I mean, I don't even remember.
Yes, I did go to the wedding. I did go to the wedding.
I see her name on the screen now. She's muted. There she is. She's muted.
There she is. She's muted.
Wait,
hold. Let me unmute. James, can you help her? She's muted.
You need to unmute us. There you go.
Hello. I remember.
Oh, hi. I can see you.
I remember Richard taking us to, I think it was Selfridges for tea. We were in London for about 3 hours. And then he drove us to, and then I think he drove us to Heathrow. Is that possible?
It's very likely. I used to like doing that.
I think I gave him a good tip that day. I'm joking.
That's great.
Well, thanks for joining. Tom, I know you're going to say something, but I just wanted to add something. There's a tremendous sense of calm. That's the word that overcomes me, calmness, in hearing the story. It's not mild mannered, but it just seems like no matter what life threw at you, James, it's like, seriously, is that the best you've got? But yet you just continue moving forward. And I want to pick up on what Tom was saying, which is, originally when there were 3 conversations, right? First your dad, then your mom, and then your mom. But the first thing in your mind when you had the conversation, which is, there's something I want to tell you, I think you said is, I hope he's not sick, right? I hope she's not sick. And it's funny how, like your whole perspective changes, and it's just amazing to me how the things we take for granted health, which is the overwhelmingly important thing. But how many people in the past have not been able to deal with being able to say, I'm gay, or find out that a parent's gay? In the grander scheme of things, how is that really a curveball, an obstacle? It isn't. The only thing that is irreversible is, unfortunately, something like ovarian cancer. But it just seems like as you told me your story, all I could take away the whole time was you just said, but it was Dad, and Dad is Dad. Dad always protected you or made you feel safe, or at least even when he was going through this crazy time, you still found that bond that no one can ever break or replicate or fake, which is the bond between a parent, a father, and a son. And, clearly something, that I didn't have, or at least had until the age of 4. I can really appreciate it.
Yeah, that's very true, Joseph. Actually, I hadn't thought of that. So that's everyone's got their own experiences. I mean, what I would say is that I had a happy and very stable childhood all the way up through to when things started going wrong. So I feel personally that was a very strong foundation, a very strong foundation that enabled me to cope with then what life threw at me. And I remember thinking when I got that phone call from Dad's friend to tell me that he'd been arrested, I was at work and I just started a new job, and I went outside and tried to digest the news. And I said to myself, I know it sounds crazy, but I said, if I can go back to work today, and get through today and work, I can get through the next however many years.
Yeah.
And that's what I did. And somehow, I don't know why, but somehow I went back to work, and that gave me the confidence to feel that I could deal with whatever was going to be thrown at me during that next phase.
James, where do you think you got that from? Did you get that from specifically? Can you think that you might have gotten that from stories with your mom or dad or both of them, experiences that gave you that foundation?
Well, I mean, it's again, it sounds like a paradox, but I do, and I'm not just saying this because you're on the call, Dad. I think I probably said it on other interviews, but Dad was always the very, very, never raised his voice to me, very, very stable, very solid, very dependable. It was Mum actually that we had screaming matches with, probably because I spent a lot of time with her. Dad was always building his business. So I actually did use that as a cornerstone to think, it's a state of mind. It's not I'm not physically being attacked here. It's a state of mind, and I can navigate through it. I just have to keep reminding myself that this is temporary. And I suppose that's one thing that I'm good with, is I can keep my cool. I think that was one thing in my career that people have always said, I've been able to keep cool and keep calm even during crises. So I was able to apply that, I suppose, to my personal life and still somehow continue my career during that period in my life as well.
Yeah, that's, people train for years, and people are now discovering things like mindfulness and the age-old stoicism training, and you had it instinctively. That's remarkable.
Yeah, no, I'm grateful for it.
And you're grateful, we can tell.
And one of the things I loved was that you admitted, James, about the negative emotions you went through initially, and then how you got beyond that. And for some reason, and Richard, it made me think about when I was a young boy, about 8 years old or 10 years old, there was a coin shop about a mile or two from my house, and my mother would let me walk there by myself. And I was fascinated to look at the coins. And I learned from the coin dealer that the rarer the coin was, often the more valuable it was. And the connection with your stories that you've told today is that those experiences in our lives, which are pretty rare, can sometimes be the most valuable. Not everybody goes through being arrested for meth dealing. Not everybody goes through losing their mother for ovarian cancer. Not everybody goes through having a parent come out as gay. Not everybody goes through having a prison situation where they enhance the lives of those around us. So many things in your lives, both Richard and James, have been rare and have been in some way of great value in your sensibility, in your story, in what you have to share with others now. So thank you for that. It's amazing that came out of my childhood as a relevant frame for me to understand what I'm hearing today.
I never, obviously both my parents were coin dealers. My dad was, my dad was a coin dealer before he passed away, and then my mom took over. Wow. And I was saying this to my mom the other day, that I only had there were only two interests I had with a coin shop. One was I wanted soccer, like football coins. Like whenever there was a World Cup, I wanted to see anything that connected me to FIFA or to football. And the other is, all I wanted to know was the rarest coin, the most expensive coin. That fascinated me. Yeah. It wasn't so much the history. I just wanted to know in that particular case, seriously, what's the most expensive coin you got? But there's something, but there's, and of course, going back to James and Richard, so much, as you say, paradox and contradiction, the liberation of incarceration, the fact this progression from coin dealer to drug dealer, it's just a crazy story, and yet the story has nothing to do with these things. It has to do with just with second chances, redemption, relationships, truth, and much the same as when you watch The Walking Dead, which is a show or series about zombies. It's really not about zombies at all. it's again about relationships, and it's just it's just been an amazing experience for me. I think the best way to describe it is exactly how Jan spoke about it, which is the ability to, like, it's going to take a while to unpack, but just hang on one second.
While we're waiting for that, Dad, that Jan Zlotnik, he's on this call as well. I don't know if you can see him, but he wrote a book recently called 23 Questions to Ask Your Mum and Dad, or mom and dad, because it's American.
I heard about that book.
Yeah.
Oh, can I interrupt for 1 second, James?
Sure.
Someone wants to say hello to you guys. Hello, Ma.
I can't see anyone.
We can see you.
Oh my God!
No, I need to see people. All I can see is the screen.
I've got one question for you, Natalie. How is it that everybody I meet? I've got one question for you, and I'm not kidding. I've just seen you on the screen. How is it that people I meet from my sort of long time ago look much younger than they did look, and I look the right age or even worse, because I look at myself on the screen and I'm frightened. It's frightening.
Well, you know, it's really not about the look. It's about irrepressible charm and wit and appreciation, and you've got all of that. So
well, no, I
don't
haven't
worry
got
about
it. You've got
look.
it. That's the point.
Well, thank you. Can I ask Richard a question?
You can. I happen to know the host. The host is going to give you permission.
Okay. So I want to know if he remembers and connects with the word puppet.
Of course.
Of course.
In fact, I've missed it. I mean, you know, no one calls me Poppet. There's only one person allowed to call me Poppet, and she's on the screen in front of me.
I've still got the little box called Poppets. I kept it for sentimental reasons for the years. Yeah. Okay.
By the way, as magic as this is, the best part of it is that you can only see half of either of their faces, which is the joy of our parents' generation figuring out Zoom.
Right.
But thanks for coming to say hi. So yeah, this is the magic of Corona TV.
It is. It really is magical. It really is. We're from around the world here, and we're sharing stories where terrible things become redeeming things, and it's just great. It's the family of mankind and our stories. Just a wonderful thing.
I wanted to make one point, maybe if I could, which is that while I may have been considered a successful in prison, it really wasn't. I mean, partly it was me, but mainly it was the prisoners. It was the people with whom I interacted. They could have been, you know, completely different to how they were, but they wanted to get involved. And as I say, all these groups of people that I got friendly with, and the football team, I mean, they listened. They understood what I was saying, which was amazing to me. Never let it be said that the guys who go into prison aren't very bright, because they're probably brighter than the people outside.
You can find good people in the most surprising of places, right? And community matters. Having a good circle of friends, having good people around you. Hardly anybody in life succeeds by themselves. You know, it takes a village. It takes a family. So you had your own family in different prisons. So I mean, what was in common between all those different prisons? You were there, so you were a magnet for all these good people coming into your life. And I'm sure they talk the same way about you as you do about them.
Well, I hope so. I mean it was very moving, and one prison. I mean, every night at about 6 o'clock, I would run upstairs to the balcony where their cells were, and we would do the crossword in the evening paper.
Wow!
And I loved that. And I happen to know the answer to one question that always reminds me, where they said, well, the question was, what was the background music for a particular film? Can't think of. Very famous. It was Rachmaninoff's Second Piano Concerto. And Brief Encounter was the film. And I said, it's Rachmaninoff. And they said, what? You know, I mean, obviously, you know, a lot of people have never heard of that. Fair enough. A lot of people outside prison have never heard of it, of this guy. But it was very good. It was a wonderful experience. They, you know, it was nice to be able to know that.
Well, at least they didn't start calling you Rachmaninoff.
That would have been a bit difficult, I must say.
Yeah, that would have been a bit difficult nickname to have.
That's James's next book, From Heisenberg to Rachmaninoff. But it's but it's funny when you think about life, right? They always say you never know who you're going to bump into. You never know who's going to be sitting next to you on the bus or the train or the plane. You know, in this case, what were the odds that someone next to you incarcerated would be able to answer that question? But the only sadness I have in listening to that story is, in the US, our prison system is just awful. And you know, it's interesting how you deflected the light, right, Richard? You said it's not about me, it was about the people I was with, but it was also the institution that at least could allow and promote that kind of healing or rehabilitation. Just to tell you very quickly, I did this once. I went to Otisville Federal Penitentiary. I wanted to do it more. In fact, I probably will do it again, which was to be what was called, it was EITs, which is Entrepreneurs in Training. So we went and mentored inmates and just, and, you know, we had people that were there from drug crimes to murder, you know, to embezzlement. And we just sat there trying to like help them with interviewing skills and updating their CV or resume. But it was, there was an amazing sense of hope and a desire on their part to want to be, you know, not just to be better, but just to be able to, you know, even just dream of that second chance. And you provided it from the inside.
You know, one of the best, go ahead, Richard.
No, I was just saying, I think it's a wonderful thing that Joseph did, because I'm not sure I would have done that in his position. I mean, it's different when you're in prison, but I mean, he was involved, or, you know, with a group that actually had been murderers and such. I never met people like that. So there you are.
One of the nicest.
Well, I would have been stuck. I would have been stuck with a guy telling me about Rachmaninoff and you know how North London is red. You know, so
yeah. I was going to say the nicest letter I ever got. I'm a writer. I wrote my first book when I was 23, and so I'm 30 books down the road now. But one of the nicest letters I ever got from a reader was a man in maximum security in a prison in Texas who told me that my book, True Success, A New Philosophy of Excellence, from 1994, had changed his life in prison, and he couldn't wait to get out. He was going to get out at a certain point, and he was going to try to make the world a better place because what he had learned about success. And Richard, what I thought about you is that, you know, James said early on that you use the same business principles that made you successful as a coin dealer. You use that in the world of drugs as well. I guess the next stage of the story is you had to use some of that, even if only unconsciously, in prison to make that a successful experience, right? And so success is universal. You know, we can use the principles anywhere.
Yeah, you're right. And I mean, and the guys in prison were able to respond and somehow get involved totally with what I was saying, or when they were speaking, what they were saying. It was like I was just anywhere in the world. I could have been anywhere.
Yeah.
It wasn't like being in prison. And I have to say also that I managed to stay friendly with the officers, because the officers in the prison, in the main, 9 out of 10, were absolutely amazing people. And it's not often that, you know, you hear that, but they were.
Wow.
And so I was friendly with both sides, and that didn't worry the inmates, because normally it would have done.
There was one anecdote that I thought I would share that's quite amusing. related to how Dad eventually got on in prison. So when he first got into the prison, some of the inmates didn't believe that he was a drug dealer, because they looked at him and thought, well, he can't be. Doesn't fit the thing. So, and they were wondering whether he was, was he being untruthful, and if he wasn't in the drugs, what was it for? And there was, I think, perhaps a group that were suspicious of him. And then it was on the BBC London News. I'll never forget it. When he was convicted finally, his mugshot was put on the news, and Richard Lubbock has been sentenced to 8 years. And the next day, you were they came up to you. The ones that were suspicious of you came up to you and said, "It's true, you were on the news." Is that right?
But they didn't believe it. They thought I was some sinister. I don't know who they thought I was, but they didn't believe I was who I said I was.
That's really funny. Yeah, that's really funny. So you were a celebrity in prison. You were the guy on national television, right?
Well, only for about 5 minutes, but never mind.
So, all right. So we are just over 30 minutes. This has been a bit of a family reunion and friend reunion. Amazing. Richard, James, my mom, my wife, my new family, which is Jan and Tom, and of course the other Jan, who is ever present with us as well. And Jason is also lurking in the background. I'm not sure which Jason it is. I think it might be, I'm not really sure. He's going to have to identify himself. But James, one of the things that I was actually doing with you was Jason from South Africa, was I was looking for video of you and of the story. And hopefully you're going to end up with about 90 minutes of video today, or just under, that you can use as well. This was also part of the vision of creating CoronaTV, which is to provide my guests with content that they can slice, dice, cut, use in their reels. So I hope this is valuable, or that there's value here for you to put something together. And I'll send you the links and the files, and there's plenty of stuff I'm going to do with you as well. But I hope that we stay in contact. I'm sure we will. We can
Absolutely.
go see a Spurs Arsenal game soon.
Well, we've got to wait for Arsenal to remember how to play.
I must
football
ask you a
before we do
quick
that.
question, Joseph. What happened to
Yes.
that lovely housekeeper you used to have? I can't remember her name.
Susan.
Susan.
Yes.
Oh,
So-
yeah, my mom's back. Yeah, Susan's still there, ever present.
Yes. Susan.
And where is she now then? Is she?
She's still here?
She's still working with you?
Yes.
Fantastic. And
I mean, all we need now is a cameo from Susan, and my whole 2020 will be complete.
how
It's like
marvelous.
an old TV show. This is your life, Joseph Jaffe.
I'm telling you, I feel like I'm the one in the hot seat now. I think I'm gonna have to stop the recording before I implicate myself, or I get implicated.
Well, I just want to say to Natalie, keep up the good work. I'm delighted as to how she has improved.
And I'm also equally delighted to see you and James. And I have some amazing memories of all of us. Amazing.
Yeah.
Marilyn, you, me, James, Cape Town, London. So we have the future also.
True. That's
That's
a nice
right.
thought.
Very true.
And that's the thing about, it was funny how we ended the show with that quote, ironically, a Walter White quote on regret. And I think James brought it home, and he said, look, it's not over. 2020 is not over. And if you still haven't found the silver lining, if you still haven't found that realignment, now is your time to find it. There's still time. There's always still time until there isn't.
Yeah.
And that's what I want to leave us on today. James, you're now part of the community, which means every Friday we do these community shows. So you'll get an email about it. You can pop in anytime and talk about the other stuff. You can talk about astrology, astronomy,